Hello, welcome to the third episode of the Teachings of Zed. One of the big obstacles that can arise in our pursuit of knowledge is that of sensationalism, the emotional response to something that appears unusual or different. And this has been the case with both the issues I'm presenting today, which are mediumship and dynamic healing. Whilst it's true that both are hardly your run-of-the-mill everyday experiences, it doesn't signify that they are outside the laws that govern the planet. They are simply not yet fully understood. As we were once told, man assumes that he makes great discoveries, but he does nothing of the sort. He simply becomes a bit more aware of what the universe knew already. The best way to overcome the pitfalls of sensationalism is to take a small step back, take a deep breath, and try and see things objectively as they actually are, even if they seem a bit weird. And by the way, weird is the most frequently used word in my healing room, but in a nice way. So let's start with mediumship, which in simple terms is the connection between different levels or dimensions of being. We're told that there are 7 dimensions through which we progress on this spiritual journey. These aren't 7 flat levels like a pile of pancakes, but expansive dimensions of experience, each with its own frequencies of energy. This is not new knowledge, it's been known for thousands of years. Our progress through these dimensions is not determined by knowledge or belief, but by our growth in spiritual love and awareness. On the subject of mediumship, we need to understand that an individual with the necessary inherent psychic ability cannot reach levels higher than his or own level because the frequencies are just too fine to bear, whilst lower levels have no such problems. It's therefore important to be aware that mediumship covers a wide field. And as I often tell people, just because information comes through a medium, it doesn't mean it's worth listening to. It's also essential to know that there are 2 basic types of mediumship, states of mediumship, and there's that of full trance and of semi-trance. In semi-trance, the medium's mind and imagination are still present and potentially able to interpret, whereas in the rarer state of full trance, the medium has moved beyond his or her mind and is at one with their higher self. As in our case with the Zed Teachings, the full trance medium has no knowledge of what has transpired during the trance. I should also mention that it required great physical effort for Malcolm to make the necessary connection at this level, which caused him to sweat profusely and return exhausted. I've written more about this elsewhere, but the process was explained to us early on like this. As you form a bridge between the spiritual world and the earth plane, in order to create a perfect equilibrium, both sides should meet in the center. But unfortunately, in your weakened earth plane, spiritually one overflows the other, so it's hard to adjust. And the higher you go, the longer the bridge, and the greater the force on both sides, and the bigger the drain on energy. He said, on our side, forces can be quite colossal. In terms of spiritual control, it takes great effort. It needs fine-tuning at our level. It's like an elephant trying to control a fly. So, Malcolm was in a state of full trance, while I recorded the words as they were spoken, in line with this request. Our teachings must be interpreted correctly. They must be seen in the purest and simplest way, without reflecting the capabilities of the individuals. Malcolm is the telephone, that and nothing more. You, Jane, are the scribe, that and nothing more. We are the speakers, that and nothing more. But what you write should form the basis and growth of deep understanding and wisdom. And if such teachings are not left untarnished and unabused, there is no help that we can give mankind. Each individual can then look at the teachings and interpret them in a way that best suits him or her, without the pressure of religious, political, or egoistic bias. This is what we are attempting to do. So, please, both of you, protect our teachings and allow each individual to interpret them from a base of truth and understanding. I hope this gives you a basic idea of how these teachings were sent and received. As for what I might call my other job, I was given this information. Your work, Jane, is of vital importance to healing. There is a growing awareness both nationally and internationally, and you have a vital role in your teachings and writings. Doors will be opened. Those doors appeared in 1989 when I was approached by the BBC for their popular series, Your Life in Their Hands. This came about through research by an American doctor, Daniel Benor, who, as I remember it, had accidentally discovered his own healing ability while examining a male patient with breast cancer. The man's tumour shrank under Dan's hands, and the patient declared, "Gee, Doc, you're a healer." Dan then set out to discover what that meant. In the course of his research, Dan found 3 healers, all of them in the UK, producing this unusual dynamic effect, myself being one of them, and he got in touch with me, and through that came the link to the BBC. I'll tell you more about this later. But in November 1988, we were presented with a momentous task that I recall was delivered with some severity. It was on a subject that is now almost universally accepted, but at that time was understood by just a minority of aware people. It said, "The urgent message for the world is on ecology. The dispersal of the ozone layers, the destruction of the rainforests, and the consequences of the so-called greenhouse effect are the greatest dangers the world has ever faced. Within a decade, if it is not stopped, vast areas of the planet will be dry. You are already seeing reduced grain harvests as a consequence of the rise in temperatures. The situation will get worse. The effect will be a shortage of grain on a world basis. The richer countries can survive due to their purchasing power. The third world countries will be unable to do this. The consequences will be disastrous. Urge the world to do something about it. forces of the universe are concerned at the developments. Heed the warning. Well, who were we? What difference could we make on such a huge problem? Well, for one thing, we could use our combined energy on a regular basis, so that's what we did. The small spiritual development group at my house began building energy to aid a shift in awareness for this purpose. And this was the start of a planet healing group that continued for over 35 years. Obviously with some changes in membership, but always keeping to the core, until we were finally informed it had achieved its main purpose of, I believe, building a kind of reservoir of powerful energy. But of course, efforts to raise humankind's awareness of the crisis we face to save this living planet go on across the world. Finally, I have to emphasize that as much as I would like to respond to requests for healing, I no longer have the energy required due to my age and the demands of producing this podcast, which has to be my priority. There is just so much energy that this human frame can hold at the moment. Zed once told me, when I was going through burnout, he said, "It's like putting a sports car engine on a bicycle, Jane. Every time you press the accelerator, the bicycle rattles." However, there are other spiritual healers in this world, and the link below may help you find the one who is right for you. Thank you so much for joining me. Goodbye.